Let's get right to retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis on all of this. Great to see you and great to have you here. So is this threat to halt the opening of the Nord Stream pipeline, is this an effective strategy for us?
You know, I mean, if your objective is to try to deter Putin, it's not going to have any impact at all. He's calculated that in from the beginning, long before we got to this point, and he can definitely handle that. But we've got to stop and just kind of look at this from a little bit larger perspective rather than just to what's happening on the ground. And we've got to say, why is it in America's interest to potentially risk war with Ukraine first, or secondly, if it spreads out with Russia over just because we don't want to let Ukraine into NATO, or because we don't want to extend Ukraine NATO membership. Because, look, the NATO charter itself on extension says that you have to have resolved all your internal disputes from ethnic groups or religious groups and all border disputes, neither of which Ukraine has done. And so it would be not in our interest to bring Ukraine in. And that is the primary issue that's driving Russia. So if we just say, hey, we're going to put a moratorium on that right now, that is the best way to deter Putin from attacking Ukraine, and that would be even better for Ukraine. We stay on this path here, and war becomes likely.
Colonel, let me just make sure I have this straight. Are you suggesting that it's not in our interest to prevent Putin from a takeover of Ukraine?
No, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, if we take this moratorium, I'm suggesting Putin will have no motivation to go into Ukraine. But the truth is, right now, his forces where they are, they can take Ukraine anytime of their choosing. And there's literally nothing we can do to stop it because they have all the forces in place. And we're not going to risk nuclear war with Russia right away. But this could stop it.
I'm curious to how this would happen, because when I was listening to Ned Price, I was keenly listening to any specifics that he would offer as to how we would stop the flow of gas through the Nord Stream pipeline. He didn't offer any specifics, but he did say that we would work with Germany to make that happen. We know that Germany has great interest in that energy to come to their country. They are highly dependent on Russia. 50% of their nat gas comes from Vladimir Putin. So are we certain that Germany would join that fight?
No, we're not. As a matter of fact, but it's also important to understand the Nord Stream 2 pipeline is not yet open. It's finished, but it's not yet open. So gas is still coming there, but it's coming from elsewhere, meaning this won't have any practical implications. But that's also Germany would be hoping that Putin wouldn't shut off that, the pipelines that are running from other places, because it would be catastrophic, not just for Germany, but for all of Western Europe, because Russian gas goes all over the places. So we have to be careful, not just for ourselves, but for our NATO allies, that we don't make a bad situation worse for them. And right now, this could go bad in so many different ways.
Colonel, we hear you. Real quick, when do you think something happens if Vladimir is deciding to move in there?
Well, I mean, obviously, no one can know for sure, but I think within a few days from now, maybe a week or so, that some of these deployments that they have will be complete, and then it could be at any moment.
Really interesting. General Keane last hour saying he thinks that we should already have troops moved in there. Should have done it a while ago, he said. Great to have you here, Colonel. Good to get your thoughts on that. Did you have a real quick final on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did. I was saying, look, American forces should absolutely, under no circumstances, get involved in this war. There's nothing that would be worth their blood that's going on in Ukraine. We just need to stop that right now and preserve our own security.
Well, the Pentagon confirming they've got 8,500 troops at the ready. They have maintained that for days now. All right, Colonel, great to see you. Thank you.